Greetings. Thank you guys so much for coming back and tuning in to another episode of the CJ Wilkins YouTube channel and also the Be a Man podcast affiliate, season 8. I'm gonna drop a link to that episode below in the comments. Tonight's episode, I want to have a discussion with you all about the importance of understanding two things, right? One, and these are in no particular order, right? But one, I want you all to understand what does success means to you. Because if you ask most people about success, what is success? What does it mean to them? If you just took 20 people at random, right? And you ask all of them, hey, like what is success and what does success mean to you, right? They'll give you a plethora of different things. And no two people will give you the exact same answer, right? So I think it's important to have this conversation, right? To have this dialogue. But first, what is success? And then two, as kind of like a byproduct of like one, what does success look like to you? So the full question is, what is success and what does it look like to you? And I think far too many times, man, and especially in today's time. I know every generation comes along and like to think that their generation is the most, attacked generation, or they think their generation has it the worst in certain capacities, right? But I do have to admit, as a millennial, right, we've never been so bombarded with images and influences of outside, like people, right? Everywhere you go, everywhere you look, there's there's influence, right? Social media being one of the biggest culprits. That device in your phone, that iPhone, that Android, whatever you use, it is a portal, I would say, to a universe of just a lot of illusions as to what success could be or what success is to some people. And there's a great quote, and I forgot who said it. I'll find it later, but they always say comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. Dyslexia was kicking in for a little bit. But I really want you guys to understand, like, one, why is it important to know what success is for you, right? The reason why it's important to know what success is for you is because, as I stated earlier, if you grab a gang of people, right, at random, and you ask them all independently, what does success mean to them? They're going to give you a plethora of different answers, right? The importance of that is success means something different to different people, right? To everyone, success has a different definition. Knowing what success is independent to you, right, is very important. And I think that's one of the most, I would say, the most pivotal foundational blocks to discovering who you are. Knowing what success looks like to you and being firm in that and being confident in that too. We don't put enough like onus on having a bravado, having a boldness to knowing what success is for you and being, pretty like confident in it. I think it's important to always know what success is to you. And I give you an example for what a side of success is for me. For me personally, an example of success is being free, right? Being financially free, being able to own freedom to where I can wake up when I want to wake up, travel when I want to travel, uh, you know, buy things that I enjoy or I want without having to experience too much of a financial strain. So you could say for me, a piece of success is being free, right? Not being confined to a life that I hate just so I can create a living. So, and then for you, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, your example of what success is may be something totally or completely different. For some people, being successful is just having a roof over their head. And I have most definitely been in spaces and times in my life to where all I wanted, right, was stability. And if you guys like, for those of you like listening who have been listening to my podcast and my YouTube for years, you guys know my story. But there was a time in my life to where what I viewed as successful isn't what I view as successful now. And that's going to segue to my second point, right? After you have a firm understanding of what success is to you, be comfortable with that ideal of success changing and growing over time. Whatever you see a success as at 13 or 14, 19, 20, you're going to have a different viewpoint of what success is, right? And that's a normal like arcadian like rhythm of life, and that's a normal thing. And I think that's something that people have to take a lot of onus in as well. What you view as success here isn't going to be what you view as success here. I remember times in my life, guys, when I was at the bottom. I mean, rock bottom. I'm talking like, I'm talking like, like complete, like just ground zero. And all I wanted was to just make it out of the black hole that I'd fallen into, right? And after working hard and like having a great support system and building a great like super team of like friends and like allies and stuff like that, God being incredibly gracious to me, I've been able to elevate and get to a higher like status in life. But when you get to that point, you're gonna have a different viewpoint of what success is, because the idea and the beauty behind growth, to me, right, this isn't going to be for everyone, but for myself personally, I can tell you that the the gift and the blessing of continuously continuously improving is that you have the ability to get better. And when you get better and you grow and you expand, the things that you used to aspire for are now things that you have. They're now goals that you have accomplished, and these were things that you had high up there on the to-do list. Once you do those things, you know you've gotten to that proverbial like mountain peak, and now you're at the base, you're at the beginning, you're at the bottom of a new mountain, right? And anyone who knows me knows that I'm a go-getter. I'm always like seeking a challenge, a daredevil in some instances, right? We won't talk about that. But you're only living if you're climbing a mountain, right? And there's a famous quote, most men are buried at 75, but they die at 24, right? So they live these lives of silent, quiet desperation to where they seek being comfortable, right? And a comfortable life isn't a bad life. I'm not here to shame anyone who is more so keen to the 9 to 5 life. Some people are absolutely okay with the rat race. It's not a problem to them. It's not an issue with them. And God bless them. But for myself and people like me who are anti stagnation, you have to keep moving and you have to keep climbing mountain and mountain and mountain. Now, not to say that there's no enjoyment in that process, not to say you don't take time between the climb and appreciate the view and cherish where you are at the moment, right? Because I just did a video on that. Be sure to check it out, um, about the importance of knowing how to have goals and to have expectations for the future, but at the same time appreciate where you are, and don't sleep on the level you're currently on. Like, don't look down on where you are presently because you have somewhere that you want to get to, right? So it's a balance. It's a complete duality between just having an appreciation for being able to climb, enjoying the climb, right? Taking time to stop and observe and look around and take a deep breath, like praise, give yourself like rest and recovery, but to remember to keep going, right? Because stagnation is a cousin of death. The slowest death you can experience is just being stagnant, right? Just just like settling and saying, hey, this is the best I'm going to do. So I'm just going to coast the next 50 years, you know. And it's tragic that people do that. It's very tragic that people sometimes, life gets incredibly tough and hard and it beats you down, and we've all been there, we've all experienced it. Like life can be incredibly stressful. And then as you age, you add more responsibilities onto your life. You get married and you have children and now you have careers and you have obligations to the people and institutions outside of yourself. So those commitments increase as you age, right? Some good Merlot, man. I don't know if any of you guys are wine sippers, but it's some good Merlot. Um, it's very important to know what success is for you, and then two, it's always good to do audits on your life and do audits on your success, because what's going to happen if you're consistent and you're persistent about this pursuit and things you want out of life. What happens over time is that your actions begin to compound. Those small successes will incrementally become larger successes and bigger successes and more grandiose successes over time, simply by just continuously putting in the work, the effort, the time. And goals and ideas of success you had 10 years ago, you'll laugh at them at some point and say, damn, man, I really thought that was success back then. And I did it. And I'm not saying this because I read it in a book. I'm not telling you guys this because I've heard this. I'm telling you guys this from just pure life experience. Like the more you accomplish, the more you achieve, you have a tendency to set higher goals. And you don't do that as a way to boast or as a way to, I told you so. I personally do it because it forces me to become greater and better than I am today, right? There were times where I set goals and I set ideas of success that were higher than where I was at the moment. But when you get to that at Pantheon, right, and you get to that finish line, that goal post, that proverbial quote unquote goal post that I talk about, it moves and it extends and it becomes something greater than it was before, right? So I want you all to just think for a second, right? Let me get ready to close up. But think about, if you could, for a second, if you could wake up tomorrow and have every single wish, want, goal, desire, dream met, right? Just think about it. Wake up tomorrow and everything you could have ever envisioned good in your life was done, right? Ask yourself, what would inspire you to get up? What would inspire you to move? What would be your next mountain, right? If you had every mountain, I don't care if it's 10 mountains you had or one mountain you wanted to climb, if you were at the top of all those mountains, right? What would be that next mountain that you would just create and generate in your head to say, hey, you know what? Let me work on climbing this mountain. Because if all your needs were met, you had all the money you could want, all of the material things, I guess you can say. Now you're getting towards that passion. Now you're getting towards that thing that stirs your soul, that a lot of people have lost and have discarded away. The thing that you would do for free, right? If money were no object, if you had everything on your checklist checked off, what would you do, right? Because you still have to live, right? You're not technically, buried yet, right? So give that some thought, right? Think about that. So in closing, guys, I really want to appreciate you all so much for tuning into my YouTube channel and listening to my podcast. I'm in season 8. Can't believe I've made it to season 8. But I'm very grateful. I'm incredibly appreciative of your support. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And drop in the comments below, what are some of your ideas of what success is? Or what is something I didn't mention in this episode that I could have said, but didn't say. All right, it's your guy CJ, and I'm out. Peace.